A ratio is a useful way to compare numbers using division. Given two numbers x and y, their ratio is x over y, which can also be written like this, or simply x to y. For instance, if the distance from Bob's house to school is 3 miles, and it takes Bob 20 minutes to bike there, we can compare these two quantities with the ratio 3 over 20. Now suppose that Bob moves to a new house, and it now takes him 40 minutes to bike the 6-mile distance to school. Then the new ratio will be 6 over 40. Notice how if we simplify this fraction 6 over 40, it's actually equal to our old ratio 3 over 20. So we can write equality here. An equation like this, which states that two different ratios are equal, is called a proportion. If we want to determine whether or not two ratios are equal, we can use a technique called cross-multiplying. Say we have a ratio A over B, and let's set that equal to C over D. We know that we can multiply this equation on both sides by any number and it'll still be true. So let's multiply both sides by B times D. Then we have BD times A over B equals BD times C over D. Now on the left side, we can cancel this B with that B, and on the right side, we can cancel this D with that D. And now we're left with DA equals BC. This means that if our original proportion was true, if A over B was equal to C over D, then it must be true that D times A is equal to B times C. So checking if our proportion is true is as simple as checking this equation right here. Often you will counter proportions where one of the numbers is unknown. Say we have the proportion 7 over 2 equals 21 over x. When solving an equation like this, the first step will always be to cross-multiply. In this equation, our a and b are 7 and 2, while our c and d are 21 and x. So we can rewrite this equation as 7x equals 2 times 21. Getting here is just multiplying both sides of the equation by 2x and simplifying, just like we did before. Now we have an equation that we're more familiar with. This is just 7x equals 42, so we can divide both sides of the equation by 7. 7x over 7 equals 42 over 7. Canceling these 7's, we see that x is equal to 6. A special kind of ratio is a rate. Rates compare things with different units. Back in our example where Bob takes 20 minutes to bike 3 miles, we can write the rate 3 over 20 miles per minute. Since we're comparing quantities with different units, miles and minutes, this is a rate. Proportions can be used to solve problems involving percent of change. The percent of change is the ratio of how much a number has changed to its original value, but expressed as a percent. Suppose that the price of some pen was $2, and now it's $3. Let's write a proportion to figure out what the percent of change in the price of the pen is. First, let's calculate the change. 3 minus 2 is equal to 1, so the price of the pen changed by $1. And the original price of the pen was 2, which means that the percent of change is going to be written as 1 over 2 equals r over 100, where r is the percent of change. We need the over 100 here because r percent is really just another way of writing r over 100. Now let's solve this equation. If we cross-multiply, we'll get 1 times 100 equals 2 times r. This is just 100 equals 2r. If we divide both sides by 2, we have 100 over 2 equals 2r over 2. The 2's on the right side cancel, and then we get r equals 50. So the percent of change was 50%.